I wish I could see all of our participants out there, but I want to welcome all of our staff, residents, and partners for joining us today. Today is Giving Tuesday, so thank you all for taking a moment out of your day to be with us all today. I'm Jen Killing. I'm part of the leadership support team here at peopleCare, and I've been the lead for our Beyond Ourselves initiatives across the organization for several years. I've had the great pleasure to work with many of you on steering committees and planning committees in all of our events and initiatives to support our mission to think beyond ourselves at peopleCare. And through our support of MEDA, so the Mennonite Economic Development Association, and their projects across the world. I'm honored to introduce our owner, Brent and Heather Gingrich, to share their vision for why it's important to think beyond ourselves, and to our Juliana Constantine, our CFO, with her experiences on the impact of MEDA. I'm also thrilled that Grace, Francis, and Dean from MEDA are here joining us to share a bit about the Nigeria project that we are associated with. So I'm going to pass it off to Brent and Heather to get us started.
Welcome, everyone. So glad you took some time to join us today, and thank you, Jen. It's looking at the snow outside, and yes, we do have snow outside our window here in Canada. To our friends in Nigeria, sometimes we're envious of the warm weather, but as Canadians, we love snow. So there you go. The reason, I think this initiative is so important to peopleCare, and it's sometimes difficult to look beyond ourselves, when we have so many challenges related to COVID-19 in our sector, and long-term care is one of the hardest hit organizations because of COVID. It's had dire consequences here, but I still think it's important to look at others around the world, and the issues I think we face in Canada pale in comparison to some of the issues others are facing around the world, and really reflect on that. And peopleCare has really had its origins as a social enterprise. Grandparents Ruth and Roy Schlegel founded peopleCare back in the 60s. They were great, hardworking social entrepreneurs before the word was invented, I guess, and started off as missionaries, and had some businesses, but they've always held those values, social values, to heart. And I remember probably the reason they got involved in senior care and long-term care is they were sponsoring folks and others refugees coming to Canada from after World War II, and my mom reflects on some individuals. The house was always open. There was lots of activity, people coming and going, staying through the night, and they'd see crumbs on the table in the morning from someone has come and gone in the middle of the night. So that's just the type of house it was. It was welcome to everyone, and that turned into them caring for those with developmental disabilities and folks without families in a little schoolhouse in Tavistock. And then that evolved into long-term care with our roots in Tavistock, Ontario. I came along, worked there when I was a student, in activity department. I remember, I'd put my running shoes on in the morning. You'd run all day because, it's hard work. It's very busy. Lots going on in the home, lots of things to help out, people to help out, and you're extremely tired at the end of your shift. But I remember feeling such a great feeling of satisfaction, and just felt great at what I did. Being like a 16 or 17-year-old boy, that's pretty cool, right? So I felt this is definitely something I needed to be involved and dedicate my career to, and growing what we did at peopleCare, because I knew we did something really special, and it comes from our values and our social mission. So that's what we've done, and here we are today. And MEDA has always been we've always admired MEDA and what they've done overseas in their mission of business solutions to poverty, providing entrepreneurial opportunities and opportunities for predominantly women in developing countries. I've been and seen a number of their projects. It's just fascinating how MEDA does things and the impact that they have, on the rest of the world. And it's really something I wanted to dedicate my life to, after, again, as a student traveling overseas and visiting developing countries. Just an extremely important initiative and extremely impactful work that MEDA does. And, I think we learn a lot as a peopleCare organization and how MEDA creates impact in the world as we try to create impact, in our sector in Ontario. So with that, I'll hand it over to Heather.
Thanks, Brent. Brent, thank you everyone for joining us today on Giving Tuesday. It is, we do truly appreciate it, and we really wanted to share our background and passion for MEDA and why peopleCare chooses to support this organization. peopleCare is a values-based organization. Our values have been the same since, the early 70s, late 60s. We value people, professionalism, excellence, integrity, and growth. And we try to live those values in everything we do, and aligning with MEDA has been a really great part of that. In November 2020, our family had we were fortunate enough to take a trip with MEDA to Myanmar, and we took our girls along. At that point, they were, 13 and 15 years old. So certainly old enough to understand and appreciate what we were experiencing as a family. And truly, it was a remarkable experience. MEDA's approach to helping women and youth earn a sustainable living is directly aligned with our commitment in peopleCare to our residents, our staff, and our families. The way we operate our business is one of a social enterprise. We want to help others and help lift everyone up, which is exactly what MEDA does in their organization. And how they do their work is what we find truly inspiring. How they organize their programs, how they put people on the ground in the countries within which they work. And you're going to get to hear a whole lot of that today. But we really just want to help everyone understand why we align so directly with MEDA and what they offer, and why we think it's such a good fit for peopleCare. So I won't take more time, but I'm going to pass it along to Dean to introduce the MEDA team and talk a little bit more about that alignment and how MEDA operates in the countries that they do their good work.
Awesome. Thanks, Heather. Well, it's a privilege to be with you here this morning. And my name is Dean, and I'm really pleased to be here with my colleagues, Francis and Grace. And I've been with MEDA about 5 years now. I get to work with our private supporters and private foundations to develop resources for our projects. Let me first just say thank you so much to the peopleCare team, to the partners, as well as the residents have done treks to raise funds. It's just amazing to work alongside you and to the values that you bring to MEDA and to your team is just inspiring. So thank you. And thank you very much to Heather and Brent, of course. We started just over, almost 70 years ago, and it was a number of people were displaced out of Russia through the revolution. They found themselves in Paraguay, and we had 10 Mennonite business owners in US and Canada who wanted to figure out how to help over there in Paraguay. So they actually went over to Paraguay and met with the people that were displaced and were in need. And after talking with them, realized that they didn't actually need an aid. They didn't need aid, they needed a hand up. And what they realized is that they had farming skills, and all they wanted was actually a loan and capital to start a dairy and breeding operation. So each of those 10 businessmen put together $5,000 for a $50,000 loan. And as that started getting paid back, they thought, well, this worked really well. Where else can we lend this now? Where else in the world can we help out? And that's really how MEDA got started in providing capital to businesses. So what we'll do is just show the 2-minute video here, and then I'll add a few more comments and pass it along to my colleague, Francis.
Imagine a world where failure isn't an option, where there are no second chances because there is no other choice, where success is paramount, even when faced with economic instability, political fragility, and inequality. Entrepreneurs who exist in these environments can work their hardest with all of the knowledge and determination they possess and still struggle to get by. At MEDA, we imagine a different world. MEDA partners with entrepreneurs around the globe to build sustainable businesses that create opportunities for families to give their children a better future. Alongside local partners, we support women, men, and youth to move into valuable and equitable roles that aren't dependent on aid, so they can become agents of change and leaders in their community. For over 65 years, we have been global leaders in economic development, providing financial services, impact investment, improved technology, business training, and better access to markets for those who have skills but need some extra support for their businesses to flourish and succeed long term. Our focus on business and systems within the agricultural sector is what sets us apart, striving to help people achieve a decent job, one that provides dignity, equality, a fair income, and safe working conditions. Through partnerships with private and institutional donors, millions of people have been given the tools they need, so they are empowered not just to meet basic needs, but to earn a livelihood, grow their business, and create a sustainable future for themselves, their families, and their communities. MEDA. It's more than aid. It's investment in people. It's business solutions to poverty.
Today, MEDA has over 25 projects around the world, and a lot of them are in sub-Saharan Africa, but we also have some in eastern regions as well as Asia. So we focus on agriculture and agribusiness. So agribusiness could be anything from transportation, accounting, marketing, all the things that a farmer needs to succeed in business. So we do focus primarily on agriculture and the businesses that support them. And the reason for that is just there's such a need for food security around the world right now. What's really awesome is we deliver our projects through local staff. So we're going to hear from Grace in a minute. We have staff in country as well as partners that are all local, and we work with trade associations, with governments, everything we can do to connect the dots so that farmers can have secure markets to sell through. The Nigeria Way project is a 5-year project with an $18 million budget, and $15 million comes from Global Affairs Canada. So we work with institutional donors like Global Affairs, USAID, MasterCard Foundation, and the Gates Foundation, and they put in approximately $5 for every dollar of private support that we as supporters put in. So the impact is huge, and the multiplier is really great. So I'm going to turn it over to Frances now to talk a bit more about the project, and then she's going to turn it over to Grace, and we can hear from Nigeria. Thank you.
Hi, Dean. Thanks very much for that intro, and thanks very much for that lovely video. I haven't seen that before, but I think it really did very well express the, where Nigeria Way is. So we call the project Nigeria Way, and it's really a youth entrepreneurship and women empowerment project. It takes place in northern Nigeria, and I have I put a little map there just in case. Just to identify where Nigeria is. It's a country in West Africa, and it's one of the most populous countries in Africa after Egypt, and has although it's a petro state and it produces fossil fuels, but in fact it has very high levels of poverty as well. So you'd say, why Nigeria? So this was a partnership with the Global Affairs Canada, and they asked us to develop a project in this place, the state, which is called Bauchi, and there's 36 states in Nigeria. And so we are in one of them, that's in the north east. And so the Canadian government is in partnership with the federal government of Nigeria in Bauchi state. So that's how we got to this particular place called Bauchi. So this project focuses on women entrepreneurs. One of the targets of the project, it's 17,000 entrepreneurs who are working as processors in 3 value chains. So that's in peanuts, and in soybeans, and in rice value chains. And of course, these are interesting commodities, agricultural commodities, because they also provide support for domestic use, at household level, as well as having markets, both within the state and across the region where these things are traded. So that's why these 3 value chains, and we're really focused a lot on the processing of peanuts and the processing of soy into tofu, and the processing of rice, which they parboil their rice there, because this is very much a function that women are engaged in. And we found in our original research that, there was no equipment, that women were doing this all by hand, and it was a very laborious project, to actually process. And then not only did it take a lot of work, but also the quality that you get at the end of the day. Sometimes machines can actually help you get a better quality of product. So this is the sector where we're working in Nigeria Way. And as I said, with 17,000 entrepreneurs, of which 70% are women. And we're working to improve their business capacity. We're working to improve their business performance. And then the other change that we're looking at is how can we support socioeconomic change as well. So there's a lot of social and gender norms that create obstacles for women to do business, like going to markets and being able to go into public spaces where men are, and some other kind, women are supposed to be at home. They're not supposed to be working. These are some of the social and gender norms that are shifting, and they've been getting in the way of women being able to make more money with their businesses. So Grace is going to tell you a lot about the impact of this project, some of the stories of how it has helped to improve entrepreneurs and particularly women-led businesses in Nigeria Way. Grace Okelola is our country project manager, and she manages the staff. And the project always works through partners. So we don't directly do this work. We work through local partners, as Dean said, local enterprises that are providing business development services or access to finance. So Grace will tell you a lot more about that. Thanks very much. Over to you, Grace.
Thank you very much, Frances. And thank you, peopleCare, for this opportunity. And so we've been working here in Bauchi, supporting over 17,000 women and youth entrepreneurs. We've had stories and feedback from various interventions around how the technical assistance, the smart incentives we've given to these clients have changed their social and economic enterprise. There's this story about a family in Liman Katagum who, before now, have been struggling to survive, because in the northeastern part of Nigeria, that is where you find this Boko Haram insurgency happening. And so with people fleeing all the time, it's not really easy for some to kind of have a business, maintain and watch it grow. And so because of the projects, what these families received, some of them received a direct price discount in like processing machines, to like grinders. And I met this woman who says the grinder has been her source of livelihood for herself and her children because her husband was killed during the one of the attacks. So they find that the only hope and the source they have was MEDA. She said if she had not come into contact with MEDA, she hardly would imagine where her life would be by that time. I saw her with some kids, you know, small kids, and still having one to back. So it would really have been a very difficult one for her. And so we do the gender action learning system training too, which is targeted at the home, you know, the families, the spouses, the husband and the wife, where we kind of bring them into the same space to learn together. You would want to know that gender norm, the gender norms, the gender barriers and the gender restrictions in the Northeast is really, really very strong. So to bring them to work with local partners like Form 1 to pave a way for the projects to be able to support both the man and the wife was really a great success for us, because that helped the women to have the necessary support that they need to engage meaningfully in their businesses. So before now, they would hardly be allowed. They need permission to engage in business. They need permission to network and to make meaningful economic sense in whatever they're doing. But with the gender action learning system, you have spouses supporting each other, giving them all the support and care they need to make meaningful growth in their businesses. So one woman said she could hardly believe that she would have 10,000 naira. That would be like, I would say, 300 Canadian or 3,000 Canadian. Francis, you help me there.
Yeah,
so
300.
Okay, 300 Canadian. So the day through the savings and loans intervention that she got that 300 Canadian, she said she couldn't sleep, because to her it was not possible. And because of the project, with the technical assistance, we're giving them various trainings in risk-taking, bookkeeping, group dynamics, financial literacy, to gain financial intelligence and be able to engage meaningfully with one another within their communities. They've been able to save money and to have what they would use to buy the raw materials and things they need for their businesses. They found that to be very strong. That's what's keeping them together as a group. And they have replicated, without MEDA, you know, they've replicated several of these groups, because that's kind of a strong support system for them. So for the small and growing businesses, that is businesses that have a bit of stability, they can engage 1, 2, or 3 employers or staff to work with them. We've been able to support them with matching grants, where they upgraded their technology. They have technology upgrade to process. We have Silky Poultry, it's a woman-led business, oil extractor. She processes soya oil, and before now she could hardly, you know, make a ton per day. But with this technology upgrade, she's able to make 2 tons per day. She's able to expand and grow her business. She's been able to network with other smaller women entrepreneurs. So they are now her supply chain. So they supply to her. So not only is she growing, she's also hand-holding and supporting other women by buying from them and opening that space for them. So we found that to be very key, where they network among themselves to bring business to themselves. Women are able to buy land. This is something that will be near impossible without MEDA's intervention. A woman said she's able to buy a piece of land, which she had never dreamt possible. I remember sharing with us how so many of them buying small animals that they keep at home are able to name them MEDA, they are able to name them way, because it is mission impossible for them. They never believed they could have. Thank you very much, Francis, for this picture. So it helped me to say what is there. So the first picture up to my left is the woman standing by her technology where she processes granules. And the one just right beside it, it's also a granule processor. This woman standing by her Eco Pabola is Hanatsu. She acquired this with the matching grant direct price discount. She's able to buy this rice paboila. So this paboila helps them to process rice and brings out rice in a better quality than the process they've been using before. So she's able to sell more, she's able to secure more customers and able to turn over her profit very, very fast. To the left now, we have youths that have been trained in waste recycling. So they're able to recycle their waste and produce briquettes. So they have a sustainable energy, source of energy apart from firewood, because climate, we engage in climate resilience, technical assistance to these youth to be able to recycle waste and produce briquettes for fuel. So there are stories about young girls that would have been married off, at the age of 13. So we've had this community dialogues with Form 1, Federation of Muslim Women's Association, where they support the project to carry out community dialogues at various communities. So this has helped to create awareness, to make them see the dangers in early and forced child marriages. And so we have heard various stories and testimonies of girls that are returned back to school, and before now they would have been married out at 13, but they are still in school. And we have another program that we do Beyond the Life Skills for Girls program, where we do a 3 weeks vocational skills acquisition and entrepreneurship training for these girls to begin to be self-aware, to have a vision for themselves. Before now, they didn't think about their future, because for them, they have no decision to make. Decisions are made for them. So if a father decides to marry out his daughter, he doesn't need her consent, he doesn't need to even discuss with her. She would just wake up one morning and to hear that, oh, she's getting married. So, but with this engagement, community dialogues and the girls, it has the gender action learning system. It has brought families together, and they're able to have this discussion with their parents to negotiate what they want for their future. So we thought that was really, really very strong. We're hearing great stories from there. And I think my time is up. There are so many stories in the field. Next slide, please. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Grace, for sharing those stories with us. It's incredible about all those stories and about those successes and the differences you guys are making there. Thank you again. And in one of your story, you mentioned never dream possible. Well, years ago, I never dreamed possible that today I will be here with you to share my experience and my part of my journey with you. As some of you know, I've been with peopleCare for 12 years. I was born and raised in Eastern Europe, Romania, and I immigrated to Canada in my mid-20s. So also, it was something in that video that Dim shared that really resonated with me. It was about second chance. For me, coming to Canada was the second chance. And starting working with peopleCare, it seems like the second chance just got much bigger. Because at peopleCare, I learned about giving back. I learned about paying forward. I learned about helping others. I learned about people, everything, helping others, supporting people, helping people grow. And of course, we had a lot of discussion, and I learned about MEDA and how they create business solution to poverty. And that is an interest to me because I love business. I love to help, and when the opportunity came and we discussed, it was a discussion of traveling to Ghana, I said yes right away. I was curious. I wanted to learn more about other culture. I would like to understand how media can create this huge impact and how media can create those business solution to poverty. And there are a lot of stories. We learn a lot in that trip. I won't have time to share everything. A lot of the stories are very similar with what Grace shared with us today. It's been very impactful for all of us who travel to Ghana in those remote villages. In those remote villages, there were no hydro, there were no water, and at that time we realized how grateful we are that we are living in this country, but also how important it is for us to share our experience and how important it is to pay it forward, to help others succeed and help others grow. I think those are kind of my shares, and some of the items I wanted to mention today. I will turn it back to Heather.
Agreed that MEDA's approach to creating business opportunities for women and youth is an incredible way to create sustainability in these countries, and the way they go about it, I'm sure that was impressive for all of you. And Dean, that video, I've never seen that one either, is really a phenomenal summary of how you go about your work. I think it's very well done. And I want to thank Dean, Francis, Grace, and you, Leanna, for sharing. I think we all agree that, you know, MEDA creates opportunity, and in creating opportunity, they create hope for all of these people. Grace, your stories demonstrated that over and over again, and I know our family experienced that. The one picture you saw just in the past screen share was that long boat, and our family was heading to a small village that was actually on the water, standing on stilts. And then when we got out of, it was early in the morning, and when we pulled up alongside of these houses, the music was playing, the dancing, the singing, and they had lotus flowers, like lotus flowers for all of us as we came in, and we went into one of their personal homes, and they explained to us the impact of what was happening for them in their individual families and in their lives as a result of MEDA's work. So, I mean, I think you can understand that, I think you can hear that the passion is here for why we support MEDA and why it is such an incredibly good fit for our organization, because at the end of the day, we want to create communities and sustainable livelihoods for our staff, better lives for our residents and for our families. That is our number one objective. It has always been our number one objective. And because we live in such a fortunate country, we can look beyond ourselves and do that for others around the world as well. So now I'd like to open it up for any questions, and I mean any questions that you have about MEDA, peopleCare's support of MEDA. This is your opportunity to ask us and understand a little bit more.
Dean, I have a question for you or Francis or Grace. Just, you know, I was extremely captivated by the new vision of MEDA. I'm a big vision guy. You know, our vision at peopleCare is to change the world of senior living. And that's really what excites me and gets me up in the morning, is big goals, big visions. You know, I saw that MEDA's vision is to, one of their visions is to eliminate extreme poverty, or participate in the UN goal, rather. It's a UN goal to eliminate extreme poverty by 2040. Ambitious goal, but again, for those that have been to seen MEDA's projects, you understand the impact, you know, how just a little bit of money to support and technology and training can support people to transform entire villages. And then those skills continue to multiply every year after MEDA is gone and pulled out of those countries. And to me, this, I believe, is the one of the key ways that we're going to be able to attempt to eliminate extreme poverty in the world by 2040. And that's what's so exciting to me about it, because MEDA has this solution as one of the key solutions. There's many other solutions, climate change we need to deal with, and war and more peace in the world. But anyway, Dean, just wondered, or Francis or Grace, if you could talk a little bit more about that vision.
Dean, I'm going to say one thing before you come in, or Grace. One of the key things that MEDA does, and in this strategy that is really focused on agri-food, food, as Dean said earlier, is so important, and everybody is involved in the production of food, whether it's backyard gardening or processing or whatever. The key thing about business solutions to poverty and the way MEDA is approaching it is about, women have agency, they have capability, and it's not aid in the sense that you come and give somebody a bag of rice or a bag of this or that. No. You are activating, their capability that they have and that they've been doing their business, and what you're doing is growing that. And one of the mechanisms that Grace and her team use there is really peer training. And so they find this group of sort of high performers, if I could call it that, women who are already doing business. Grace and her team have invested and helped provide some business development services, and these women are growing. And these women are a role model within their own community, within their families. And so, as you said, Brent, it carries on, and it has a kind of sustainability built into it because of that sort of peer mechanism that Grace and her team are using. So yeah, and it's activating agency that people already have. We all have capabilities, and it's using and providing momentum and energy into that capability.
Thanks, Francis. The other amazing thing about that project that I've heard Grace mention in the past, so MEDA doesn't work with any particular religious group or non-religion. We work with any entrepreneurs, regardless of religion. And I know, Grace, you were mentioning before how there was groups of these savings and loans that were women that were Christian and non-Christian, or different religions, that were working together to better their lives. And to your point of peace, Brent, I think these projects are creating peace in the world just by getting people to communicate and work together. And climate change as well. There's many different aspects of climate change. The big vision for MEDA over the next 5 years is to create 200,000 decent jobs, and decent jobs being basically what we enjoy here in Canada, which is long-term employment that's reliable. Sorry about that. And then and also that have some benefits as well. We know that with each decent job, that it supports 10 other people indirectly, so family members and neighbors. So that's the big vision. We are partnering with, as I mentioned, MasterCard Foundation, as well as Gates Foundation and others. And MEDA is really becoming noticed as we're sort of a mid-sized development organization. So we're getting a lot of attention, and we're just at that point where we can really take our approach and leverage it big time. So we really want to be thought leaders and work closely with world agencies to make change.
So let me just add a bit thing, if I
please.
may. Yeah. So we really would like to have our clients kind of think alongside MEDA, see them as creators of solutions, not just recipients of aid. So we wanted them to have this mind shift. So I remember there's this woman and her husband who, because really the women are 70% of our target. So they got together and said they have never, as a couple, sat down to look, to wish, to envision, to look at their future. What is in it for us? They have never done that until they came in contact with MEDA. So they said the most amazing thing for them, the turn for them, was the fact that they were able to see, they were able to have a vision for their future, a vision for their economy, a vision for their children, a vision for their, business and all. So we see that, having that perspective to see in the light of how MEDA is seeing them, coming out of extreme poverty, being able to not only feed, succeed, but to thrive. So as solution providers, and then was also making them see the need to reach out to their communities. And then, we have stories of women who take on the lessons they've learned to other women around them who aren't part of the MEDA clients, because we have 17,000 as target, but we have over several thousands of women out there who haven't received any of such trainings for capacity building. So I just wanted to add that there. Thank you.
I think this is an incredibly exciting time for MEDA. I think as an organization, I think you are on the cusp of that next level. Your approach and your method has always been strong, and it's tried and true. And I really think that when you talk about wanting to be thought leaders in this sector and shifting the mindset of people and giving them that understanding that there's a different way and you can approach it a different way, that is incredibly exciting, Grace, to hear about that. And that you are MEDA's providing that opportunity to look at things a little bit differently. Again, it's another reason why we know this is a great fit for us, and we love to support MEDA from that perspective. Any other questions from, I actually have a question. When you talk about social and gender norms shifting, and you do that through education and training, like what is so when you hit that initial in a community, maybe perhaps a roadblock, how much time does it take to do that training and see that shift for the communities and for the women and their partners?
All right, I'll say a bit and then maybe Francis can also jump in. We do, in the first instance, the Gender Action Learning System. It is purely a tool that uses pictures because they are illiterate, so they cannot write. And so they use diagram, pictures, drawings to represent, so we have visioning and we have challenge action 3. So where they kind of draw a tree, they have what they envision as what they want to see, what they don't want to see. So how do you go about strengthening what you want to see and, taking out the things you don't want. So it's practical, and they are the ones driving the process together in the family units, together with the community. So there's a family aspect and there's community aspect that they draw together what they want to see. So it's seeing the end and then coming back to see what you need to put as milestones as you go to achieving that end. This is something they've never done. They don't even know what visioning is. They don't know what, all this challenge action tree. So it's very participatory. They develop songs in the local language that they understand regards the challenges that they are facing. So those songs they sing together, in fact, it is a whole mind shift for them, because the husbands, like I said the last time, 5 other states in the northern part of Nigeria actually visited Bauchi to come and see, because they've heard how have you done this. So men are able to support their women, something when the other groups came from the 5 states, you find their men sitting at a separate location, their women sitting differently, but the way clients were sitting together, their spouses and their wives and the husbands sitting together. So the whole gender action learning system brings about that mind shift. It brings about that togetherness, because they do the tool together, they do the practical exercises together. So it's like a 1 week, and then before we begin to see these changes happen, we have a 3 weeks window, 3 months rather, window where we go back to check and then to evaluate how far they've gone. So the diagrams remain with them. The facilitator can just take a picture of the diagram. So when we go back, they tell us, oh, we've moved to this level, on the diagram. This is where we are. So you will see they drive, oh, okay, I used to buy, they know what they used to spend money on, which is maybe not necessary. Now I've moved to wanting to focus on things that are important to me, to buy some assets. they're able to buy land, they're able to bring their resources together to make it meaningful for themselves. The minimal resources they have, or they are making out of the small businesses, they were able to make that happen.
Thank you. Thank you. That's a great explanation. Appreciate it.
So it's from 2019 we started using this tool that wasn't a tool that was developed by MEDA, but we adopted it. It was actually Oxfam, and it goes in at the household level. And so there's 3 sets of training for a week each, and then they use this thing, and the people who are doing the training, they commit to train others. So that's how it spreads as well. So we're on like our 3rd generation now. So those who we trained, it was 150 people, and then they trained something like 2,000 people, and then those 2,000 trained. So it actually spreads. And one of the things that they talk about through this is that family harmony. You know, that family harmony is one of the major outcomes. And if you think about it, for a woman to do business, for anybody to do business, for her to take risk, you know, she needs the cooperation of her family for her to take risk. And so, you know, we found that, in fact, because they now have this family harmony or family cooperation, and they know how to get there, then in fact, they're willing to be more active and take more risk, borrow some money, increase their capital, you know, increase their production. And so it's had really clear implications for their business as well. Yeah.
And one thing I really struck me, you know, Dean, you said the vision for the Nigeria Way project, or I forget who Francis or Grace said, it was 17,000 individuals, but then that is the, you know, the multiplier effect is what I love, you know, being an impact investor. You know, that impacts, what did you say, 10 times, so 1.7 million individuals. But then, you know, as Francis was talking about, is that the train, you know, how that spreads and continues to spread. That 17,000 is just when MEDA's, you know, in the country for what, a 5-year or 4-year term, right? And then after that, you know, I fully see and understand. I know MEDA's done some work and studied this, and the impact beyond when MEDA leaves. That 17,000 continues to grow and impact, you know, millions of people, which is the fascinating part. And you know, we've seen this in Myanmar, and I've seen it in Ghana, how the process they set up, you know, to, you know, create a market, right? And agents, you know, different women become agents for brokers of the goods that they're selling, and they go to different villages, and they want to increase their business. So they want to train other villages on, you know, what worked in this village, right? So after MEDA's gone, it continues to accelerate and to multiply. So, you know, the dollar I invest, you know, yeah, gets matched 5 times immediately by your institutional investors, but then it also continues to multiply after MEDA's out of the country. So, you know, the benefit of that $1 million or $1 turns into, you know, thousands and thousands, right? So you can see if you're, you know, investing, you know, whatever it is, 20 million on a project, how that 20 million turns into $1 billion pretty darn quick. And then, you know, 10 billion after years and years. So it's just difficult to get our heads around that level of impact, if you haven't seen it. Yeah, but love to take everyone here on the call and on another tour of one of MEDA's projects. I think once travel starts to open up again, and we get over this COVID little bump that we're in, we can start taking groups of peopleCares and supporters to tour some of the projects. I know how impactful that would be.
Yes, between the impact investing, both with the culture shift and with the dollars that people donate, it makes an incredible difference. I think we will start to wrap up now. We want to thank Dean and Francis and Grace for being here today and taking the time to explain to our teams and to our partners a little bit more about your work, and thank you to the peopleCare team. It's also drawing that connection for our teams and for our partners as to why this is a good connection for us. And what better day than Giving Tuesday than to like learn a little bit more about MEDA and why and how they do their good work. I think in a country like Canada, we can all extend ourselves just a little bit and think beyond our own borders. Yes, we struggle here in many capacities, but we have safety nets that they just do not have in those countries and around the globe. And it's sometimes we just need to push ourselves to think beyond our own backyard. There's room for that as well, and we do that at peopleCare, but we also want to think of those whose needs are greater and how we can make such an incredible impact. Brent, do you want to say anything to wrap up?
No, thank you, Heather. Thank you, Francis, Dean, and Grace. Really appreciate your time, and everyone on the call today. I know it's a busy time of year, but really appreciate your time and your attention today. Thank you.